Hey everybody, this is Danny Silva with D Silva Designs, and I've got another speed sketch video today. I'm doing a special May the 4th Be With You video. I usually only post on the weekends, but since it's May the 4th, and I had the sketch cover that I had completed recently, and I recorded everything, so I thought it'd be a good day to post that for you. Today it's going to be a Darth Vader blank variant sketch cover, Star Wars Darth Vader. And I'm going to be doing a Vader choking Jar Jar. So this was a client request, not my idea. Great idea. So I thought it would be fun to draw. And I didn't record the initial sketch. I've started to do that recently to try to remember to do that. But sometimes when I have to get the initial sketch approved by a client, then I'll sketch it out real quick before I start recording anything, and then I'll transfer it over to the cover. I usually start the sketch out with a blue line pencil on a 9x12 sheet of paper. Once it's done, approved, any changes are made by the client, then I go ahead and shrink it, scan it in, shrink it in Photoshop to the size that it needs to be, and then I'll usually transfer it with a light box or something to get it on the cover. So that's what I did here. I just started the video after that whole process because there's a lot of different components, digital and whatnot, that are not that easy to record. So that's why you're seeing the pencil. I used a 2H pencil to get it on there lightly, and now I'm going ahead and inking. I'll be using Copic multi-liners and brush pens, the Copic sketch marker brush pens for the inking, and well, at least for the blacks and things like that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Going in, and Vader has a lot of black, so I'm just kind of filling in those areas. Doing all the shine in the helmet. Every once in a while I'll go back and I'll use my pencil because there'll be an area where it doesn't look right or it needs a shadow, and so I'll resketch. I'm recording this on my old webcam. Sorry, I don't know why I can never remember that. Anyway, I'm recording it. This is an older version. I had a Logitech webcam that claimed to be HD, and it is not. Well, it is HD, but it can only be zoomed all the way out, so you can't get any close-up shots of the inking or anything like that. So it was pretty much useless. Everything else it recorded was 720, and so since then I've started to record with my phone. I do all my recording in HD with my iPhone. They're large files, but I have a high-capacity phone, so it makes it easier, and the quality is a lot better. So I'm gonna apologize if the quality's not as good as it usually is. I have several videos that I haven't had time to edit that I recorded on my old webcam, and those will be uploaded soon, just to get them out of the way. But yeah, I've switched over to using a tripod with my iPhone. And now I'm going in with a brush pen and doing some of the lighter inks. I use a brush pen just for inks in general. I use multi-liners or microns for the fine detail work or the tighter spaces, and then for the larger spaces I'll just use a regular Copic marker, or whatever I have at hand that has a large tip. This is the first Vader sketch cover that I've done, and the first time I've ever drawn Jar Jar Binks, because, well, he's not the most famous character in the Star Wars trilogies. But I thought this was a fitting way to express how I feel, and so the client came up with a great idea. Now I'm going to start in with the Copic markers, and I'm using the larger square tip ones just to get in areas filled in, and I'm using several cool grays for Darth. C2s, C4s, C6s, things like that. Just kind of building up, start light and then build up to the darker shades and then go back over. It looks like my markers are running out here, so halfway through I'll probably had to refill some of them. And a lot of times I will, because Copic markers bleed a lot, I will put the backing board and bag behind the front cover, so that way it doesn't bleed through onto the actual book, just in case the client is going to have it graded. Because a little known fact that I've heard recently, that they don't really, when you're doing your grading, don't really need to worry about the cover so much. If there's ink or if there's artwork touching that part, they don't really grade that closely. They usually pay more attention to the book itself, not so much the cover, as far as sketch covers are concerned. Again, this is what I've heard. Haven't been able to verify it with CGC, but it seems like from the results I've had turning in certain books, whether they be warped or, if watercolor kind of buckled them a little bit, the grades still come back pretty high as long as the interior of the book inside is intact. Alright, so now that I've got Vader pretty much done, I'm going to go in and finish off Jar Jar. Vader's fairly simple, not a whole lot of color there, just some cool grays. And with Jar Jar, I'm going to be using I pulled out a bunch of colors you can see on the left, and I don't know which ones I'm going to use. I just, looked at a picture of Jar Jar and said, okay, these colors might work, and I'll test them as I go. So it's a variation of oranges, yellows, browns. There's a little tip. I did it with the inside of Jar Jar's ears here. If you notice that an area is turning out a little too saturated for your liking, you can use cool grays or warm grays to desaturate. Just use a light color. You'll notice the inside of his ears were kind of a bright orange, and I know that's not how they are, how they're portrayed. And so I believe I went in with a warm gray just to kind of tone it down. I'm using some warm grays for the clothes. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I had a little trouble with Jar Jar's clothes because they're all pretty much the same color. All the references I've looked at, they look almost the same, and I didn't want it to be too flat, so I had to kind of try to vary the darknesses. And they're pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and do my little signature thing here and add a simple background. I didn't want it to be too dark because obviously Vader and Jar Jar are both very dark. So I kind of just decided to do some smoke trails using some cool grays. And going with some dark colors and blend it in with lighter. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of white highlights to various areas to make those pop. Vader need a little bit more shine in certain areas. And I believe that's it. So there she is. I think it turned out pretty cool. It's a great idea. If you have any questions, there's my email. I want a commission, and I'll be at Free Comic Book Day at Comics, Tunes, and Toys this weekend. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.